So some of the finished product from the Silverwood Lake Trout. We're gonna take this apart. We gotta lift the bone out of here, which is kind of hard to do with one hand, but what you want to do is get a fork and lift. You see how that's breaking apart? And then you just lift it off of there. You can split it in half. And then that is all that on the bottom. We put rosemary and some different things. But if you notice, like right here, you can dig in. Let's see if we can get that thing. And then look at that. Let's get that by hand here. Sorry, the camera work sucked right there, but there you go. Look at, see there? And then we'll just let that kind of marinate a little bit in there. I got some random bones I gotta probably just pick out of there by hand to make it easier. But mostly this came out really well. Yeah, the skin will peel apart. So we want to rewrap that. Just barely. Just let that kind of boil up. And then let's take a look at this other foil pack. You can see what this looks like. Yeah, we put rosemary, garlic. Of all things, we put brisket rub in there. And the reason why, because it's basically, brisket rub is just salt and pepper. Here, I'm going to have to undo that. I'll come back. Alright, so this one, pretty good. It's nice and soft. The meat's just about done. You might have to flip this one over to get to that spine here. Let's see if we can pick it out of here. Yeah, it's pretty hot, so I'm going to have to pick this out. But the meat, I'll just flip this over. There we go. Then you can just grab this spine part right here. It's going to be a little hot. And you can just shake it like that. And there you go. The majority of your bones. And then there's a couple of random ones in there. But it's pretty doable. And then you just gotta pick out some of the skin so you don't have to do that later. But yeah, these foil packs keep it from being pretty hot, so it's really nice. Good stuff. It's gonna be very good. So then the next move is you take all the trout, you take all the skin parts, make sure you get any random bones. You can get in there with a fork, and you see there's a bone right there. So you could either just grab it with your hand, and you just want to kind of like pick around in there while this is in the iron skillet. I use the Lodge skillets, but yeah, just put it in here. We're gonna add a little bit of lime, just kind of give it a little kick. But we're just kind of looking for these random skin parts in here like that. You just want to, some people will eat all of it, and that's fine if you want to do that. There's nothing wrong with this. It's got a lot of the nutrients in this trout are in the skin. So, but also likewise, all the toxins in the trout are in the skin. So you just want to like look through as much of this as you can for any kind of random bones that are sticking out. I mean, you might still have them. That's just the reality of trout. It's kind of a bony fish, but that's what we're left with. And you just let that sit in there, and we'll flip it. We have a spatula here, and then we're just gonna like let this fry on this side. There's a little bit of olive oil in there, and we just leave it in there. And then we're gonna flip it over. We'll show you what that looks like. Here we are, it's the next day, and we have quite a bit of leftovers of trout. We still have all that right there, and what we're going to do with it is make some trout cakes, some fried trout cakes. It's very similar to like a salmon cake or crab cake that people make. We're starting out by having a cup of onion. It looks like a little over a cup, but I like the onion, so we're going to do a little bit over a cup, and we're going to make this so it cooks down so it's kind of clear. You don't want it caramelized, you just want it clear with a little bit of butter. So we're just going to keep it moving. And then when we get it down to that stage, we'll go on to the next step. So once you get it down, I didn't go too far. That's about where I went with it. And the next move is you want to put it in with that, and you're going to add all the ingredients, and we'll show you that ingredients list here in a second. So we have some cornflakes. We didn't have breadcrumbs, so we did have cornflakes, and I think this might actually turn out better. And you need about a cup of these. So you just take your cornflakes. We're going to put it in with that trout and the onion. You're just going to let that sit. We need about a cup. And I think we got about a cup right there. So we're gonna do a cup of that, and then let's get the other ingredients. We have the rest of our ingredients. We have our eggs. You just lightly beat these, and then we're gonna use relish over dill, and then we got our green onions from the yard, and we got our mixture here, the breadcrumb and all that. We added a little bit of extra. There's some butter in there ready to go. And what we're going to do is throw all this in there, mix it up, and then we're going to add a little bit more breadcrumb on the outside if we need it. And then we're going to fry in this iron skillet. Good stuff. So now we have mixed up our ingredients. We just dumped everything in there. We get the cornflakes and you crunch them up. Just use your hand and just squeeze them until they look like that. And then just add it in. Everything goes in. You could add a little bit of mayo if you want, or whatever. This is where you can get creative for yourself, but you need a nice thick consistency that will make a patty. And keep adding the breadcrumb and mixing it until you can make a patty. Then once you've made your patties, you want to dip them in this again on both sides, and that'll give you a nice crispy crust on the outside. So let's get the patties made while the pan's getting nice and hot, and we'll be good to go. We'll show you that next. So here we are. We got our patty made and we're frying it up. What I did is I sprinkled a little bit of extra breadcrumb on the top while it was in there, and then when I flip it over, it'll give it a nice layer to sit on. But that's basically it. High heat, about a quarter cup of oil is all you need, just a light layer of oil. And just keep making patties and dumping them in there. I recommend taking your time. Do one at a time. Don't get too many in there. I mean, you can, but one at a time seems to be the best way for this type of thing. It just seems to cook much better. So they don't take very long. Remember, the trout is already cooked, and it's going to be done pretty fast. You're pretty much just frying the cornmeal or cornflake, whatever you want to use. I like the cornflake. I think that's going to come out real good. So you want to just test the sides, and when you can move the whole thing together, then you're getting there. Looks like we can go a little longer on that one, but we'll flip it back over after the other side gets done a little bit. But they look like they're going to come out really good. We're excited for these things. So you have the option basically to add whatever you want to this. For example, for a little bit of creamer, we used mayo and a little bit of milk instead of cream. I think that would just give it a nice flavor, you know. So be creative. The goal is to be able to make. You need the breadcrumbs, the egg, and the fish. Those are the three main things. Everything else is your own choice. And what I like to do is make the patties and then put them into the breadcrumb ahead of time, while another one is on the grill being made. And so just kind of got to gauge them. This one looks like it's about ready to flip. They have a tendency to fall apart, but you're looking for a nice crunch like that. That's perfect right there. So you might have a couple of them fall apart. Don't worry about it. Just eat it. It's all the same. But the goal is to get them to be like that. And the way to do that is to do extra breading. So make your crab cake mix. It looks like kind of like a tuna salad with cornflakes in it, and that's basically what you're making. So think tuna salad with trout and put some cornflakes in it, and then add a little bit more cornflake, and then make sure you give it time to crisp up. I think the real trick here, though, is the extra egg. I went with 3 eggs instead of 2, and I think that helps with the binder. It helps everything stay together nicely, because once the egg starts to cook, everything just sticks together. So just to show you what this will come out like, when you flip it, it should look like this. It should be pretty crispy. You want it to be crispy because that means the middle is going to be done. So you want to cook it all the way through. Not that the trout is not cooked, but you don't want it to be too soggy on the inside. You want it to be kind of cooked all the way through. But that one is done. Let's put that one in the thing. See there, we had our first one fell apart there, but you can see that they get better. So we're going to get this one out of here and we'll put it in the pan. So that's what they're looking like. I'm getting them like, I want them extra bready. I think that's the way to go. And then just put that bad boy in there. Let it begin. So we're going to do fried rice with ours. So I'm going to break my own rule here just out of sakes of time, because otherwise this video would be forever. But you can see what we do. So what we're doing, you get these spare crumbs that end up flaking off just naturally. And what I'm doing is just putting them on top of the other, what you're cooking already. Just kind of sprinkle it on top, because when you flip it, I don't know if this one's quite ready yet, but when you flip it, it'll just end up on the bottom there. Oh, that's pretty good. They're coming along nice. So there you go. I mean, as you can see, what happens when you do more than one is they end up absorbing the oil pretty fast. So that's why it's almost better just to limit the amount of oil you use. But you can, I mean, if you're in a hurry and need to feed people and people are starving, then yeah, just go for it. Put them all in there, but be prepared to add oil and to remove as much of the random breadcrumbs that are falling off, because they'll absorb the oil as well. Looking good. So be prepared to add oil if you're doing more than one. You can see what happens is the oil will get absorbed by all the patties. So just add a little oil and get rid of some of this random stuff so it doesn't burn, and you'll be fine. Alright, that's going to be it for these. I think we're done. I think at least that one is ready. This one, let me see what the other side looks like. Yeah, it's pretty much there. Maybe another minute on that side. But that's it, guys. I mean, that's all there is to it. Just make sure you're adding oil, use a good binder, make sure you have the eggs, and you should be good to go. So there's our crab cakes, or